On our final artboard, we're going to create a seal logo. I'm going to use a lot of the pieces that we've already created for this seal logo. You can do the same thing. You're not stealing from yourself. So I'm going to start by taking this low poly, start there, and then I'm going to take a circle. I'm going to take a circle and place it over this low poly logo right here, and have a sky blue. We'll look and see how that looks when that circle is in the background. I kind of like that, so I'm going to increase the size of this just a little bit. And I want to paste this mountain range inside of this circle. So to do that, I'm going to copy it. You can go to Edit Copy, or I can use the quick keys, Command C on my keyboard, and Command C. And then I'm going to use Command X to delete it. I'm going to select this circle, and I'm going to paste it inside. So I'm going to use the Draw Inside function, and then I'm going to go to Edit and Paste. But I'm not going to use Paste in anywhere. I'm going to use it Paste in Place. This will make sure it'll paste it in the exact spot where it was copied from. I'm going to go back to normal draw mode. Excellent. So that's going to be the center of my shield. So the next part is I'm going to have the words grocery store underneath it. So I need a second circle. So I'm going to draw my second circle. Make sure that it is centered around my first circle. And then with it selected, I'm going to use the Type on Path tool. Excellent. Actually, before I do that, I really don't want I don't want grocery store written around the top. I really just want it written around the bottom. So I'm going to delete the top half of the circle completely. And I don't need it to have a fill. So I'm just going to make it a transparent fill. So around the bottom it's going to say grocery store. Using this font I'm just going to select this, spin a little bit, so I'm going to remember it's Lato. So now this half path that I have here, I'm going to use my Type on a Path tool. Click on it. Make sure it is Lato, yes. And I'm going to type in the word grocery store. It is facing the wrong direction around my circle. So now this middle line right here determines whether the text is on the outside of the circle or the inside. So I'm going to grab it and flip it so it's on the inside of the circle. These lines on the outer side determine where the text starts and where it stops. I'm going to have it start right here on this edge of the circle, but I'm going to have it stop all the way on the other side of the circle, and then have the text centered in between those 2 points. Now I'd like the text to be a little bit larger, so I'm going to use the Type on Path tool, highlight the word grocery store, and increase the size, and increase the tracking. Decreasing it. I'm just working it until I feel like it looks the way I want it to look. And once it does look the way I like it to look, I like a little bit more space between it and the circle. So using the character function, actually I'm going to highlight all this text, and then using the character panel, I'm going to do a baseline shift. I'm going to hit minus, which is going to move it away from the line, or below the line. What that's also going to do is slightly separate out the letters a little bit, which I'm happy with. Now these letters are what they considered, I think, stairway. I'm going to show you what I mean. I take this and go to my Type on Path tool and double click on the Type on Path tool. These are actually, it's rainbow, which means that each letter kind of stands out on its own. But you might also consider other ones. One I really like also is skew. I don't like it as I look at it in this context, I don't think it looks as good as rainbow, but skew is one that sometimes looks really good depending on how things are set up. The others I sometimes use, but not very often. 3D ribbon, stair step, and gravity. But the two I use the most are rainbow and skew. This time I think I'm going to stay with rainbow. I do not like the way this section right here looks. I don't like this line. This is kind of a tangent right here. There's such a small space. It looks like it was a mistake. So to get rid of that, I'm going to select this line and I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to select this line and remove it as well. Now I've gotten rid of that tangent and this looks better. So we've got 2/3 of the seal complete. The last third is the word mark of the part of the word mark that is the name of the grocery store, which is Isaac's. So
2:50 p.m.
So we got 2/3 of this. So we have 2/3 of the seal complete. The last third is the word mark, part of the word mark that is the name of the store, which is Isaac's. So to create that name of the store, we have a lot of options. We could have it across the middle. We could have it circle the top. We could have it cross. I'm going to have it cross the middle. So I'm going to take my type tool and I'm going to click on. I'm not going to use my type on path right now. I'm just going to use my type tool and click and release and write the name of the store, which is Isaac's. And we're going to make this super heavy black italic. It's a little bit hard to see. So I'm looking at this. It's kind of hard to make out. It's kind of a dark color black, and the background has a lot of dark elements. So how can we make this stand out? One way is we can add a stroke around the text. So there are a lot of ways to add strokes around text, but the most effective way is when you're using the appearance panel. So go to your appearance panel and have the entire text selected. So let me talk about why not to want to use one of the other methods first. So if I select the text and I add a stroke directly here, and as I add this stroke and make it thicker, you can see that as the stroke is thicker, I can't see my text anymore. It's hiding part of my text as I continue to increase the stroke. And I can't align it to the outside because I'm applying the text to the actual lettering. But now let's try it a different way. If I go to the appearance panel and I go to the options and add a new stroke. Well, it doesn't seem to want to let me do that. Make sure it helps if you have something selected, I suppose. So, and that does not seem to want to add a stroke either. So we're going to try a different way of it. So I could expand this into shapes, but I don't really want to do that. So all I'm going to do is another way, which is instead of adding a stroke, I'm going to add a shape around it. So I'm going to add a new fill. So I'm going to add a new fill to these strokes. Now my stroke's showing up. So now in my appearance panel, I can start to apply white stroke and increase thickness. Now at first it will do the same thing, which is it will cover up the fill of my letters. But from the appearance panel, I can grab the stroke and place it below the fill of the letters. So now I can still see the fill of the letters, and the stroke isn't covering it up. I can continue to increase the stroke. So I'm trying to find a good spot to place it so that I can see both all the letters, and I can get the feeling that I'm creating with the mountain behind it. When I find a spot, that is one way right there. I've got an I6 kind of behind it. There we go, and that looks like, so that is my seal logo. So I've got 4 different logos. I've got a seal logo, I've got a low poly logo, got a line logo, and I've got a simple shape logo. And these are the 4 different types of logos that you need to create for your assignment.